And that's the thing, Sammy. Our guy Ben Johnson was out there giving kind of a TED talk on what it takes to be a coach, what he's doing, trying to develop Caleb Williams. And it's very interesting because one of the things that's really impressed me about Ben Johnson over the last couple of days is how he's approached all the success the Bears had last week against the Dallas Cowboys. As everybody's sitting here and they're trying to minimize what the Bears did, just writing off the Dallas Cowboys, saying they're not very good, they've given up a lot of points, and all of that is true. That's not anything that I can deny, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge it's pretty refreshing the way the Bears have kind of approached these things. Caleb Williams, try to deflect any of the praise for going out there and winning the Offensive Player of the Week. He was also sitting there trying to, just look forward to the Las Vegas Raiders. And similarly, Ben Johnson was the same way. Ben Johnson talked about it, what it takes to be a coach, and as somebody who coaches, young boys and girls, in AYSO soccer. It's one of those things like you're there to lead. You're there to, you're there to praise. I always believe, and this is one of the words that Ben Johnson was talking about, like support. Like I always talk about this. It's the biggest thing to me. Supporting your teammates, being supportive, pressing people when they need to be pressed, challenging people when they need to be challenged, and understanding there's different levels. Like I've got kids who are exceptional players and they need a little bit more, a bigger kick in the, than the kids that have just started playing this season, and trying to find that balance. And that feels like one of the things that Ben Johnson is doing really well with Caleb Williams, is really finding the right guidance to help him be successful. It's one of those things that's interesting to me because, a lot of people said that, hey, this relationship between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson is not going to work, but I have seen nothing to the contrary. I've seen nothing that would support that notion. If anything, we've seen that it's really been a great marriage of the coach and the player. And if you listen to Caleb Williams when he's out there deflecting praise and meeting with the media, he sounds a lot like his coach, which is the biggest homage you can give to him. So I'm really looking forward to what they're going to be doing this week in Las Vegas. Can't wait to break down the matchup a little bit further than we have this week. So Sammy, let's just go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the weekend edition of the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank. So excited to be with you here today. A little verklempt, though. I will admit that I'm not making the trip to Las Vegas as the photos start to roll in. It's funny because you see all these media members, CHGO and everybody else, and Willie and Sylvie and Waddle and all these guys like, oh, so you make the Las Vegas trip for sure. You're not going to be in Detroit, but you are definitely making the trip to Las Vegas. And it's one of those things where you kind of realize that was going to happen when we put a team, and I say we by the NFL, when the NFL put a team in to Las Vegas. This was going to be one of the games that all the opposing media is going to go to. All the fans are trying to go to, which is amazing. The fans should try to go to this game. It's going to be awesome. Allegiant Stadium's awesome. The pregame, like, even though Las Vegas doesn't have, I don't want to say tradition, that's not the right word that I'm looking for, but you do get a cool walk, as most people have to park over somewhere off of the Las Vegas Boulevard, whether it's at Mandalay Bay or the Luxor, Excalibur, over where the New York is and everything like that. Yeah, there is a big walk over. That they really should at this point, too, because they're never building that A's stadium, according to Vital Vegas. I don't know. They might. I don't know. According to him, I listen to Scott Rubin, who says that it's never going to be built, but that would look like an ideal spot for, they should build some sort of like O'Shea's, like the original O'Shea's. The original O'Shea's in Las Vegas, and I'm sorry, now we'll start talking Bears in a second. The original O'Shea's in Las Vegas was like a small bar in front of a parking garage at the Flamingo. I think it was the Flamingo's parking garage, or maybe it was the Imperial Palace's parking garage. I think it was the Flamingo's. And it was just one of those things that it took me forever to realize, like, when we were looking for places to stay in Las Vegas one time, I'm like, we should try to stay at O'Shea's. And one of my friends was like, dude, that's not a hotel. It's just a bar. And you're like, oh, yeah. And then when you went and you looked, you walked around the back. It's where the Night Fox lands at the end of Ocean's 13. That's where his parachute takes him. It's in that alleyway in between the Flamingo and what was then O'Shea's. I'm like, oh, that's what they should put on the Tropicana side and just have people park there for all the events at Allegiant Stadium. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about this Bears matchup. This is the big thing that looking into this game, and one of the biggest, the most telling things, and I'm not saying like this will haunt Ben Johnson forever if he doesn't go out there and win this game. I'm not going to say anything like that. But what I will say is that this is a huge opportunity for Ben Johnson to go out there and be like, this is the way that we are going to go out and conduct our business. It would be one thing. It would be very Matt Eberflus, like, well, hell, it happened last year. You know, after a huge game, a huge win over the Jags in London, the Bears went on a bye week, but when they returned, they looked awful against Washington. They weren't awful against Washington. Actually, you know what? They should have won that game against. I take that. I walk that back just a scotch. But they weren't as prolific offensively as they should. I think that's fair to say. I thought that Caleb, in a sense, did outplay Jaden Daniels in that game because Caleb Williams twice drove the Bears into position for what should have been the winning score. One of them, they ran a play to Doug Kramer, and then they scored a touchdown. And, of course, the final 26 seconds happened the way that it happened. We don't need to go into that. But at the same time, like, the Bears fell off a cliff. Like, we thought it was a turning point at that moment. That Jags game was going to be like, see, we're back. Like, the Bears are good. Like, everything's awesome. Spoiler alert, it was not. This is an opportunity for Ben Johnson to go out there and put the pedal to the metal. And if the Bears go out there and win this game, and if the Bears go out there and have a great performance against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I understand this isn't one of the great teams. You're not playing the Chiefs or the Bills or one of those great teams or the Eagles or somebody like that. But at the same time, these are games that the Bears should be winning. The Bears should be beating the Las Vegas Raiders, like regardless of whether it's on the road or not. If anything, the Bears are going to start taking over that stadium because we've seen the Las Vegas Sports Club there has been giving up a lot of tickets to a lot of opposing teams, which was one of the biggest fears for moving there. Whereas, number one, you'll always have a sellout because people are going to want to go to Las Vegas, but at the same time, it's going to be hard to get a really true home field advantage because the folks in Las Vegas who grew up in Las Vegas, if you spend any time in Las Vegas, you know, like my friend Tony is a Vikings fan. My friend Jose is a 49ers fan. My friend Chris Waterman, who works over at the Golden Gate in the D and the Circa, he's a Giants fan, although he loves Shedeur Sanders and he loves Travis Hunter. But still, these people aren't steeped in the tradition of the Raiders. There's nobody who's just becoming a fan of the team. Like, there's a lot of people out there when the Vegas Knights rolled in who were like, oh, yeah, I'll be a fan of this team. And they did the ceremony where you give up your jersey. You're like, here's my Colorado Avalanche sweater. I will be a member of the Knights family now. You don't get a lot of that with the Raiders. Like, they're entrenched in their fandom, and nobody's like, well, I'll be a Raiders fan now. You don't get it. So it should be a home field advantage for the Bears, and it comes down. So I don't really see it as a true road game. I see it as an opportunity for the Bears to go out there and show everybody the work that they have been doing over the last couple of weeks. This is what Bears football is all about. This is a true opportunity to go out and prove themselves that win over the Dallas Cowboys was anything but a fluke, but instead one of the building blocks to the rebirth of the Chicago Bears. Now, let's take a look at the injury report for the Bears. But before we do that, a few words from our sponsors. Too often, the culmination of a fantasy season is rewarded with a cheap plastic trophy or a lame-ass GG in a group chat. Well, guess what? That ain't it. This is Crown Champs, baby. That's right. Crown Champs gives you everything that allows you to not only win your fantasy league, but you will rule your fantasy league. We're talking about crowns, robes, rings, scepters, all the things that make you fantasy football royalty. And right now, if you go to crownchampscompany.com, that's crownchampscompany.com, you sign your entire league up, and for less than $3 per month per person, you can go out there and win some free merch. We're talking about crowns, we're talking about rings and robes and all this cool stuff. There's weekly challenges. There's an opportunity to get yourself crowned as the king or queen trash talker. It is an absolutely awesome fantasy football community. And if you go to crownchampscompany.com, you can sign up, use the code SICK15, and you will get 15% off your order. Just let them know that Adam Rank sent you. It's crownchampscompany.com. Let Adam Rank know. Let them know that Adam Rank sent you. You got it. Go to crownchampscompany.com. And by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Huel. Huel is one of the most amazing meal replacement options going right now. Listen, I've spent a lot of time in my life going out there and using meal replacements, whether it's bars or protein powders or anything like that. Nothing has matched Huel. Huel has been an absolute godsend for somebody like myself who does multiple shows, constantly on the road, not only going from shows, but also going out to practices and doing all sorts of stuff. And instead of going out there and eating a candy bar or something lame like that, I take one of these. It's got 400 calories, so it's less than a donut, but it's got 35 grams of protein, and it gives you energy. I'm out there running around with a bunch of kids. I can't sit there and have a donut in my stomach, try to sit there and run around a soccer pitch. Like, that's just not going to work. That's why Huel has been a lifesaver for me. And not only do they have the already made shakes, if you don't want to go that route, dude, check this out. You go get the bottle, walk around with the bottle. There's protein powder in here right now. If I need a quick fix, I will go out there, and I thank my friends at Huel for getting us started. If you go to Huel.com, go use that code. You will get 15% off your first order. Don't go to Costco. Don't go to GNC if they're even around still. No. Go online. Go to Huel.com. Go check it out. Great. Might I recommend the iced coffee? It's an absolute brilliant call. All right. Thank you so much to our great sponsors. Let's talk about the injury report. It's pretty interesting when you sit here. The injury report's starting to shape up a little bit. Some of the key names that we'll see now. Darnell Wright did get injured in that game against the Dallas Cowboys. He is going to be out for this game, which is a huge bummer. And I know a lot of people wanted to see Ozzy Trapillo as a possible starter, and it doesn't look like it is going to be that way. I don't think, again, we don't know. Everybody's just going out there and assuming that it's going to be Theo Benedict, who is going to be the starter this week in replacing Darnell Wright. Obviously, Ozzy Trapillo was a right tackle by nature at Boston College, and I've seen a lot of people come out and say, you know what, it's a bad look for Ryan Poles that Theo Benedict is going to start and not Ozzy Trapillo. And I'm like, why? But my question is, why is it a bad look? Why is this going to be something that is not seen as anything but positive? They're like, well, he's an undrafted. Well, who? Okay, I don't care if it's a second-round pick or if it's an undrafted free agent. If Ryan Poles has gone out there and found an undrafted free agent who can start at the NFL level, why isn't he being lauded for that? Like, why isn't it something that would actually be a good look for him? It would show one of the things that we thought over the last couple of years is that Ryan Poles really has an eye for talent, especially on the offensive side of the football, especially on the offensive line. If Theo Benedict goes out there and performs really well, like what's the big deal if we have good depth or not? Listen, I'm not going to sit here and put a guy out there just because he was a second-round pick. Perhaps he's not ready. You know, it's very difficult to go out there and play offensive lineman at the NFL level, and perhaps Ozzy Trapillo needs a little bit more seasoning. We saw early on in training camp, he was having his moments. He was looking okay at times, but he really, after that initial rush, kind of fell behind, and now he's going out and he's developing. How about this? How about we just let a player develop? Like, we don't need them to come out there and be an all-pro the first time they ever step foot on an NFL field. Like, there is something to be said about somebody going in and learning and labbing up and figuring it out on the NFL level. And it should be a good thing. If we can go out there and find this kind of depth on the offensive line. I don't care if it's an undrafted free agent, a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick. We just need people who can go out there and play. So honestly, if Theo goes out there and does really well, and let's say we don't miss a beat, the offensive line's amazing, we run for 300 yards, whatever it is, we go out there and we win the game. That should be a great look. A great look. You're just trying to find talent wherever it is. And it's funny to me because, again, this is one of the things that goes on with Chicago Bear fans is that everybody just feels like we need to be 1,000. We need to be batting 1,000 on all of our draft picks. It just doesn't happen that way. Like, you look at some of these great draft classes of other teams where you're like, oh, I can't believe we got Richard Sherman in the 5th round. We also got this and that. There are still so many misses. The draft is an inexact science. And if anything, if we go out over the last couple of years and we get, let's say Caleb Williams continues to develop as the player that we think he is. If Rome Odunze continues to be the top wide receiver of his draft class, that is a tremendous look for Ryan Poles. I will give the benefit of the doubt to some of these guys going out there and developing. Just give it a chance. Like, we can't sit. Nobody's dismissing Ozzy Trapillo after 3 games. Like, that's not happening. If Ozzy Trapillo's not ready to start, so be it. We'll see him at the end of the season. We'll see him next year. It doesn't matter. Let's hope he doesn't have to play. Let's hope this isn't a long-term injury for Darnell Wright, and this is something that he can help get back, especially after the bye week, and moving forward that way. Also, it looks like murky at best to say what's going to happen with Kyler Gordon. He was on the injury report. He's listed as questionable. Colston Loveland is questionable. DeAndre Swift is questionable. But, of course, Grady Jarrett is out. And I think with Grady Jarrett's case, I don't know. I think if this was a playoff game, he would have been able to play. But because there's no need to rush him out here, I think we're making the right move by going out and doing that. And also, TJ Edwards is going to be out. But Sewell's been playing so great. So there's, again, another guy who is taking a little bit of time to develop. Let's celebrate when our guys develop and not worry about Ozzy Trapillo not being ready to play in his 4th ever NFL game. Sometimes these players are going to take a little seasoning. I truly believe that when Ozzy was drafted, it was of the mindset of like, yeah, he might not start this year. And we shouldn't want to play him this year. We should be able to go out and start some of the other guys that we've already invested in at some point. As for the rest of the game, you know what? Again, I'll say it one more time. The Bears need to go out there. They need to be able to establish the run. I would really love to see an idea where we see Kyle Monangai getting more of the early down work and bringing in DeAndre Swift as more of the change of pace guy. Let Kyle Monangai go out there and run into the line of scrimmage over and over again and try to soften that team up and then go out there and make some big strikes. And, of course, we want to see the continued development of Rome Odunze with Caleb Williams. And, of course, seeing Colston Loveland, if he's able to go, that'd be amazing. But have somebody else step up. And we saw it last week. 4 different wide receivers stepped up and played well for the Chicago Bears. And I truly believe that the Bears are going to go out there and win this game this week. I will also say this, as sad as I am that I'm not going to be able to make the trip to Las Vegas, and I really wanted to be there, but there's something to be said. We're going to be at our regular spot out here in Southern California. However, if you're out there in Chicago, where are you watching the game? Because you should be watching the game at Twisted Shamrock, one of the best bars in all of Chicago. Listen, Twisted Shamrock has great giant screen TVs. They got a private party room. They got giant screens over the bar. They've got a patio. Listen, we're getting to the time of year where the patio might be hit or miss, but still, giant screens everywhere. Great people. Like it is a great vibe. A lot of great fans hanging out. They've got great drink specials. They got bucket specials. They got a great wait staff, great bartenders, great managers, and the best old-fashioned in the entirety of the Midwest. So if you're thinking about what to do for the game on Sunday, it's a 3 o'clock, 3:25 local start. Obviously, it's on regular TV. Don't sit in your house like a lurker and not do anything. Go out there, get a ride share service, have them drop you off at Twisted Shamrock, have a great time, and celebrate a Bears victory. And we expect to be celebrating a Bears victory this week. So check back with us Sunday evening. We will be back after the game, and then the following week, Monday, Kendall Valenzuela will join us once again for Fantasy Island on Tuesday. It's our guy, Nick Cotty, who will be joining us with the Just Another Year Chicago Sick Podcast collab. Take it to the rank on Wednesday, and then another preview next weekend. Still working on guys like Hayden Winks will be joining the show here in the next couple of weeks as well. So a lot of cool stuff happening. So excited. If you're in Las Vegas right now, heading your way to Las Vegas, be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Go to the Golden Gate where the night starts there, 6 o'clock, open bar. Until that time, bear down, and Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.